Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining Lewis University's television network. Today is Monday, March 20th, 2017. I'm Meaghan Glavac.
And I'm Justice Weston.
And we begin at the top of our hour newscast with ongoing political drama from Washington, D.C. Just hours ago, FBI Director James Comey testified in front of the White House Intelligence Committee that he and the FBI have no information that supports President Donald Trump's charges that he was wiretapped. Comey also said in his remarks that the FBI was looking into the possibility that Russia tampered with the 2016 presidential election and that Trump and his aides knew about the tampering. Comey said he believed Vladimir Putin would have aided in securing Donald Trump's position because Putin dislikes Hillary Clinton's policy choices. Later this afternoon, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said that the president will not be apologizing for the wiretapping claims, nor will he be commenting further on the investigation of the Russian influence on the election.
Saturday morning, a 64-year-old man stabbed the manager of an auto shop in Orland Park. According to police, Luis Barrio went into the Sears Auto Center around 10:20 a.m. for his scheduled oil change. An altercation ensued over the time and it would take to finish the oil change. Barrios then stabbed a 37-year-old man with a small pocket knife. Barrios was taken into custody and charged with one felony count of aggravated battery.
Anti-Semitic flyers were found for the second time in less than a week in the University of Illinois Circle Campus Library on Saturday. The president of the Jewish Student Organization at UIC, Ava Zelster, said the flyers denied the Holocaust and accused Jews of receiving preferential treatment at colleges and universities. However, some of the flyers had contradictory messages as they compared the Gaza Strip to Auschwitz. The recent flyers are similar to the 100 flyers found around the campus. The newest flyers include the hashtags Black Lives Matter, We Are All Muslim, and Stand with Palestine. Zelster says an email was sent to students and faculty saying that these actions will not be tolerated on campus.
A woman robbed a bank Saturday morning on Chicago's North Side. The robbery happened around 10:40 at the U.S. Bank branch. No weapon was shown at any time during the robbery. According to the FBI, the suspect is a 5'5" black woman in her mid-30s with a stocky build. She was wearing a black scarf, black hat, dark sunglasses, and a red long-sleeved shirt. If anyone has information about the robbery, they have been asked to call the FBI at the Chicago's office.
A judge ruled last week that an Army vet who served 2 tours in Afghanistan will be deported. Army Private First Class Miguel Perez Jr. was born in Mexico but grew up in Chicago. Perez believed his legal resident status would be changed to a legal citizen when he joined the Army, but that wasn't true. After being convicted of a felony for selling drugs after he left his Army, his deportation began. Perez's attorney will appeal the ruling and reach out to senators. Perez is currently in custody. Coming up next, we'll take a look into nation's leading headlines.
And later we have the top tech news. Stay with us. According to the latest Gallup poll, President Trump's approval rating has hit an all-time low. As of today, 58% of Americans don't approve of his job as president. The numbers mark a sharp dip from the previous weekend when the President Trump approval rating was 45%. President Obama had around a 62% approval rating at this same point within his first term. Trump's dip in approval comes after a court blocking of the recent travel ban, the accusation of wiretapping Trump Tower, and the release of Trump's Obamacare replacement.
The husband of White House counselor Kellyanne Conway is expected to be nominated by President Trump to run the Justice Department's Civil Division. If the nomination is confirmed by the Senate, George Conway would lead the office that handles legal challenges to major Trump administration initiatives. Conway, who is a corporate lawyer, currently works as a partner at a corporate law firm. He has worked in the firm's litigation department for 20 years. He has experience in security, contracts, and antitrust litigation.
Tennessee authorities are on the hunt for a kidnapping suspect. 50-year-old Tad Cummings is wanted for the alleged aggravated kidnapping of his student, 15-year-old Elizabeth Thomas. Thomas was seen last Monday at a restaurant 45 minutes south of Nashville. Though the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations have received more than 250 tips, they still haven't been able to locate Thomas. Authorities believe both are near Decatur, Alabama. Anyone with information regarding the location of Tim Cummings or Elizabeth Thomas is urged to contact authorities at 1-800-TBI-FIND.
More than 180 firefighters are continuing to put out a fire that started Monday, spreading 74 acres across Sunflower Canyon in Colorado. Residents no longer need to evacuate. However, the battle to put the fire out is far from over. Investigations are still taking place as to how the fire was started.
On Saturday, musical pioneer Chuck Berry was found dead at his home in Wentzville, Missouri. Berry was 90 years old when he passed and was found at the St. Charles Police Department. Berry was known for his influence on rock and roll. He will be missed by loved ones and the music industry as a whole. Bruce Springsteen said, quote, "Berry was the greatest pure rock and roll writer to ever live."
When we return, find out what Netflix is now testing.
And later, we'll take a look at weather with our forecaster, John Rolfi. Stay with us.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
President of Uber, Jeff Jones, has decided to leave the company after just 6 months. The ride-sharing company hired Jones last year from Target, where he was in charge of marketing. However, over the past few months, Uber has faced multiple troubling allegations, from sexual harassment claims to Chief Executive Travis Kalanick's recorded argument with an Uber driver, and claims that the company uses its data to stalk celebrities. The company has lost several big executives in the last couple of weeks. Ed Baker, head of growth and development, resigned earlier in March.
Netflix is testing a new feature that would allow users to skip a TV show's title sequence. Netflix spokesman Smithisaran said the feature is one of hundreds of tests Netflix conducts to increase user experience. The new feature has received positive feedback following a soft launch on their desktop app. Netflix hasn't formally announced when the new skipping feature will be available to users.
Disney's live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast opened on Friday. The show is currently breaking box office records for G and PG-rated films. The previous record holder, Finding Dory, grossed $135 million in its opening weekend, which Beauty and the Beast topped with $170 million. It's the latest in a series of Disney remakes of animated classics, which capitalize on nostalgia for the earlier films. Beauty and the Beast caused some controversy due to the inclusion of a gay character. Media analysts say that this likely had a positive effect on the film's exposure. The movie is predicted to make over $1 billion internationally.
For at least 6 months, the dating app Tinder has had a member-only VIP section called Tinder Select. Tinder Select is aimed exclusively at elite Tinder users, a group that includes CEOs, models, and the especially attractive or rich. One source also claims that users who do especially well on Tinder are also included. Only people who are invited by Tinder itself or other Tinder Select members can join. Tinder has declined to comment on its VIP section.
Last Friday, China banned another social media outlet. The block on Pinterest is related to China's restriction on sites that compete with local businesses. The timing of the ban coincides with China's National People's Congress, a time where China's top leadership and thousands of delegates gather together to set the country's political and economic course for the year. The block on Pinterest started earlier this month, according to GreatFire.org, a watchdog group that monitors censorship and accessibility of websites in China. Previous high-ranking sites that have been blocked in China include Facebook, YouTube, Google, Yahoo, and Twitter. Moving on to weather with John. We're finally seeing some warm weather again. Can we expect the warm weather to stick around this time?
Yeah, I think we're going to stay about that 40, 50 mark during the day, but the night it's going to get a little cooler, a little rain coming. We're going to go and talk about what's going on, though.
Awesome. Well, we'll have more with weather with John when we return.
Son, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Hello and welcome back to LUTN. I'm John Rolfi here with the weather. Alrighty, we're going to start with a current temperature here. It's 50 degrees here currently in Romeoville. 45 degrees is your wind chill. Humidity of 66%, and you have a 14-mile-an-hour wind out of the northeast. Alrighty, we're going to head into our current temperatures. All right, Chicago is currently 50 degrees, along with Cicero is also 50 degrees. Joliet is 54 degrees. Aurora is 64 degrees. And South Bend is 52 degrees. Let's head into our today's highs, which are very similar of what we have looking at right now. So again, 54 degrees here in Chicago was our high. Over here in Joliet was 56 degrees was a high. Aurora, 64 was the high. Along with Kankakee, 59 was the high today. Alrighty, we're going to look at a small local radar. As you can see, there's a storm that's going to stay north of us in our viewing area. And then there's a storm that's going to kind of be picking up over here on our east side that we'll kind of look at when we kind of go into our bigger map. But you're not really going to look at any rain in the near future. Nothing crazy. You might get a little sprinkles from a little parts of this storm, but no major rain or anything is going to be coming our direction. All right, we're going to look at our satellite radar. We're going to go ahead and zoom out in the whole state of Illinois. As you can see, we have a nice cloud cover over here to our west. It's going to be coming our direction, and that storm I spoke of earlier is down here in the east and has formed and is now headed southeast away from our viewing area. There is a little bit of storms that are going to be out here, but everything is most likely going to stay north of us coming from our west and going to stay north of our viewing area. Nothing's going to hit us. Let's go ahead and look at what we're going to look at for our 5-day. On Tuesday, our high is going to be 48, low is 23, so you are getting into a little colder, but it is going to be a little warmer for y'all. And then Wednesday, it's going to be nice and sunny, high of 43, the low is going to be 26. Thursday, that temperature is going to raise, but then we're going to be nice and cloudy though. That's a bummer. 53 on Thursday and 40 is your low on Thursday. Then you get into Friday, Saturday. Friday you have 63 degrees as your high, 44 is your low, but you have a 40% chance of rain. Then on Saturday, 48 is the high, 31 is the low, but then a 60% chance of rain, so we're probably going to see rain there on Saturday and also some on Friday. So that's it for the weather segment for our newscast. Back to you at the desk.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Definitely looking forward to that warm weather. Great way to kick off spring.
Very good.
But speaking of kicking off the spring season of sports here at Lewis, I heard the men's volleyball team had a game this past week.
Yeah, they had an incredible game against the #1 team in the country. They went down 2-0. They forced a fifth set, though. It was on LUTN, so if you tune into it, you know the score already. But if you didn't, you'll find out if they were able to pull off a big upset when we come back from this break.
Awesome. Well, we'll have more with David with sports when we return.
Good hook. I'm chocolate.
Wake the sun, tell him that I've begun to dream of things to come, and tell the trees not to look for me. I'm going to find some peace of mind. Wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun, wake the sun.
Softball team rallied and gathered a pair of comeback victories this past Sunday, sweeping Truman State and earning 2 conference victories in the process. The first win had the Flyers come from 2 runs down in the 6th inning, with the go-ahead run coming from sophomore Darius Sanders, who also got the victory on the mound while pitching. Junior Kaylee Prieto and senior Carolyn Najiri also scored runs for the team. The second game found Lewis coming back from a 5-4 deficit, with senior Carly Jaworski tying the game. Junior Elise Perna drove in the eventual run in the 9th inning, with Sanders gaining her second victory of the day, bringing her record on the season to 10-0. The win gives the Flyers a 14-7 record, and the team will return home for a doubleheader this Thursday against St. Xavier, first pitch scheduled for 2 p.m. The Lewis men's volleyball team came just short of completing an impressive come-from-behind rally against the #1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes this past Saturday. The Buckeyes looked to try and finish the Flyers quick as they won the first 2 sets by scores of 25-22 and 25-23. However, Lewis would go on to win the next 2 sets 25-23 and 25-14 to force a game-deciding 5th set. The 5th set was just as competitive, and Lewis even got Ohio State to play at game point, but Ohio State gathered themselves and took the 5th set and the match and the final set by a score of 16-14. Ryan Conan led the Flyers in loss with 22 kills, and redshirt sophomore Mitch Perinar also contributed with 10 kills himself. Lewis looks to rebound from the loss this Friday when they face Penn State at the Neil Carey Arena. That game is set to start at 7 p.m. A history-making season came to an end for the Northwestern Wildcats men's basketball team over the weekend when they fell to #1 seeded the Gonzaga Bulldogs in the NCAA tournament. Gonzaga was dominant in the first half of the game, gaining a 22-point lead, making things look bleak for the Wildcats going into the second half. The Wildcats mounted a commendable comeback, which was cut short by the play we just saw, but the lead was ultimately too much for the Wildcats to overcome, and they fell to Gonzaga 79-73. Junior Bryant McIntosh led the Wildcats in the effort with 20 points, and sophomore Vic Law followed closely behind him with 18 of his own. The loss marks the end of a historic season for the Wildcats, who managed to not only amass an impressive record of 24-12, the most wins in program history, but also managed to get their first NCAA tournament bid in school history. In briefs, a duel in Los Angeles yesterday saw both Kyrie Irving and D'Angelo Russell put up 40-plus points, with Irving's Cavaliers squeaking out a 125-120 victory. Gonzaga and Kansas are being penned as the 2 new favorites to win the NCAA tournament, following losses by Villanova and Duke this weekend. The Chicago Bulls sent point guard Cameron Payne to its developmental league affiliate, the Windy City Bulls. Payne was the main piece in the trade deadline day trade that sent Taj Gibson and Doug McDermott to Oklahoma City. And the draw is set for the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. The matchups will be Barcelona versus Juventus, Real Madrid versus Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund versus Monaco, and Atletico Madrid versus Leicester City. I know I was very disappointed with the Northwestern Wildcats. I'm a big fan of the Cats, and I was watching that game, and that goaltending missed call really killed any momentum they had, and very sad way to end the season.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to pick it up.
Sure hope so.
Yeah. Well, that's it for today's news. As always, you can tune in to LUTN. You can keep up with the Lewis News on Facebook and Twitter, and by visiting our website, charliemedia.press. I'm Meaghan Glavac.
And I'm Justice Weston.
I'm Jonathan Rolfi with the weather.
And I'm Dave Ridderhoff with sports.
Have a great night.